Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Gather community and our Creator Spotlight video series. Today, we have the amazing Shannon Sundberg, way up from the North San Francisco Bay Area. Shannon has been in our community since it very began back in 2020, and we've gotten to know each other so well over these years. And I want to welcome you, and I want to say thank you again for always being a yes in our community and being part of what this community stands for, which is generosity and connection and supporting of each other. You're always there to lend a helping hand.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Yay! Well, I'm so excited because, what we were talking before we started, I think that some of the things that are happening in the world, and I'm guessing that this is happening not only with my clients, but with yours, is that we've been kind of transitioning through and toward the end of this pandemic situation. But it's not like everything went back to normal. Like, we're still navigating the things that are different in our moments, in our lives, in our businesses, in our families. And so I know that that was a really big piece of like your story, creating your business from the beginning. But now that we're kind of recreating this next chapter, tell us a little bit about how you're doing this for yourself and helping your clients to really get, to the next stage of what's happening in life.
Yes. What I found for myself and my clients is as time goes on and we're trying to figure out what the new normal is, there's a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of options that we have to create something new that we haven't experienced before.
Yeah.
And for some, it can be really exciting and exhilarating. It can be really scary for others, and navigating that. And so even for myself with my business, I, navigated being almost exclusively in person to figuring out how to exist in a virtual place. And now what is going to be the combination? And it is open to whatever I want to make.
Yeah.
To make it.
That's kind of, I think, the thing that most of us are like, we're figuring it out and we don't have it figured out. And it's all like, we started when the pandemic started to loosen up a little bit, right? Like, what is this going to look like? Everything moved online, everything was in person, moved online. Now we can kind of do both. We're not really sure how much of both we want to do. And, I see this a lot from a speaking standpoint, people who are having only in-person meetings or only online meetings still, or trying to combine the two and figuring out what that looks like and trying to imagine even what you want it to look like, whether or not it's even possible. Like, that's a whole, like, if it's possible is one question, but what do you even want? And I know a lot of what you're working on is that dream weaving and really helping people figure out, what do they even want? Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So the dream workshops, and now the take action, where we're dreaming and setting goals. And then what was happening is little forward movement. And so now we are talking about taking action. What does that look like? It's different for each person. What kind of support does each person need to have that strength and courage within themselves? Some, it needs to come from their heart. Some, it needs to come from their head. And how to connect that mind, body, spirit, because if they're all connected, the action is going to come naturally, the drive, the inspiration, the passion to take those leaps into the next steps. And so transitioning from the dream workshops, still bringing that dreaming how to return to dreaming. Are your dreams big enough? Where, how do they play into your daily
That big
life?
enough is such a good question. As you were talking, I was like, we during the pandemic, we did a lot of dreaming, but it wasn't really dreaming. It was more like fantasizing about stuff we couldn't have, right? We couldn't go anywhere. Oh, we're going to do this, or I want to do this, I want to do that. But it wasn't really dreaming with an action like plan, right? It was just a fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'd love to be able to do this, do that, but who knows when that'll ever happen because we can't go out of our houses, like that kind of level. And then we started thinking more about, okay, here's the things, but I think we were still so, tentative about taking action. Like you said, very little forward motion. So tentative about taking action that even the dreams were small.
Yes.
Because we talked ourselves out of anything big, because we were still and are in a lot of ways still unsure about what's even going to be possible, because what if everything locks down again, right? This is just the trauma that we've all gone through and going through these last few years. So I love that that's what you're focusing on, because the support that people need around that is so tangible. And I know that from your story, being able to really imagine something substantial, and then also kind of feeling a little nervous about taking action, and then realizing that, right, we all teach kind of the things we've gone through in a lot of ways. So you're helping people recognize they are where you were, so that you can help to pull them forward down their path.
Yes. And bringing the connection of that mind, body, spirit together, even for myself, has been, it's an ongoing thing that we have to work on every day. And so I love some of the things that, some of the ways that I'm able to support my clients. It's different for each one. Maybe it is, texting an affirmation. Maybe it is giving them a diffuser blend, because that aroma is going to remind them about that dream that they need to take action on.
I was just thinking about like the idea, like, for me, my tendency, and I think for a lot of people, is that to like sit in your head and not really kind of feel what you want and allow it to be a part of you. And so, you were talking about using oils in support of that. Obviously, that starts to hit other senses. I know that you are doing energy work for people in person and remote, like all of that. All of that stuff I'm so drawn to, which is, I think, why we're so close. Because I'm like, Shannon, tell me how can I get out of my head, right?
Yes. And, and I don't even know if I've even shared this yet, because it just happened, but I was really, when we listen to our hearts, we connect that mind, body, spirit. Where are we supposed to be? Where do we want to be? And we take action. 2 years ago, not being in that and having that connection, I told my Reiki teacher, I'm never going to teach. So I don't need that level of training. And I didn't listen to that. I wasn't connected and listening to where that passion would eventually lead me. And that was to get my Reiki teaching master certificate, which just happened. And yes. And so I've been sitting in that of, what does this mean for me? And there is so much excitement that now I'm able to teach other people, which 2 years ago, that was too scary for me to think about. And now it's the right thing and the right place and the right time. And now I'm passionate and excited about about that new opportunity that I limited myself in because I was like, oh, I'm never going to do that. And,
Right.
but it was a super fast response out of fear because it was uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And so that is
And you
something.
already had like all this other stuff going. Like it's
Yes.
so easy to see an opportunity and go, "Oh, I can't, how am I supposed to do that? I'm doing this and this and this, and it's a pandemic and I got a kid and it's all the things." And
Mhm.
yeah, oh, that's so cool. And that's so relatable. There's so many people out there who are just like, I'm doing this thing and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I need to do this because I need to pay these bills and I need to, you know, live up to this expectation from others, or an expectation of myself that I created when I was 12, or, all those things. And to just brush aside new opportunity. It's so, it's such a gift when you're able to recognize that the things that are gonna light you up, that you can say yes, even if you don't know what it looks like.
Yes. And, you know, in that growth for myself, I am seeing so many opportunities for supporting my clients
Yeah.
and the community at a much deeper level that now I'm open to that I just wasn't before because I wasn't dreaming big enough.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to do some energy work and help people, which is amazing. And I love doing it in person. I love doing it virtually. There just building that confidence of each person to have that confidence
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
within themselves, to trust themselves, hear and listen to themselves from their heart, that connection. I think it's something that we need to relearn that has been lost along the
Yeah.
way of having expectations put on us
Mhm.
and putting them on ourselves because that's the tradition of where we are supposed to go.
Right.
And so I love that is something that I really feel it was such a positive that came out of having to back away from our normal life
Right.
and be with ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I think that, we're really lucky, and I hope that people who are watching will recognize whether or not they're kind of in the camp of, I looked at things in a new way versus, I was feeling like I was stuck, right? Like, I think that's obviously the two ends of the spectrum, right? I can't because of this situation, or what's possible because of this situation. And, everywhere in between has value. And we move along that continuum constantly from I feeling stuck to I'm feeling totally liberated and inspired to do new things. What do you think you're going to do now that you are a Reiki teaching master, and like you need to create like Pengrove Reiki, what was I had a word in my head, like, I don't know, it's some sort of like big community of like your teaching school or something.
Yes. So I still have my wellness space,
Yeah.
and actually I am partnering with a couple of different local ladies for different like little weekend retreats to experience.
Yeah.
And the plan is to have 2 or 3 every year where right before the holidays. So kind of regenerating and rejuvenating our connection for moving forward into a time that is super busy, lots of obligations, expectations that we put on ourselves, others put on us, and really kind of rejuvenating our connection so that we can enjoy that busier time, how to keep our energy up, how
Yeah.
to be thriving and not just surviving through that time. And, then in the spring for kind of a refresh, and then always during the summer as well. So
Sure.
these are things where, connecting energy healing, aromatherapy, frequency. So whether it's through a frequency mat, or maybe it's through the ion cleanse, and just supporting our bodies mentally, physically, spiritually, and just replenishing so that we're kind of renewed and ready to go.
Yeah, love
So
it.
those will be really fun in person.
Oh,
Kind
and you
of,
could do the same thing online. You could do remote retreats, and obviously it would be a little bit different. But oh, that sounds so great.
really amazing. And yes, we were trying to figure out how we're really working on how to offer this in a virtual place, and whether that comes in with doing the energy, the distance healing that I really, really have a really special place in my heart to be able to connect with people on that level. And, sending out the aromatherapy so that they have it for the retreat, and doing, so that will be in the works to be able to like do this, spread the healing everywhere.
Yeah, so good, so good. I love it. And then of course, and which we didn't even mention, I mean, we talked about the dreaming and all of that, but the mindset work that partners with the energy and the aromatherapy and all of that, whether or not it's about dreaming big goals and going after them, or just being, happy with who you are, and that kind of level of emotional connection to yourself. So good. So good. I love it. So exciting. Well, I can't wait to hear more about those. I want to ask you about like, are you going to do those retreats for just women in general, entrepreneur? Like, are you going to focus on a certain demographic? Are you going to do it for moms? Like, I know the mom community is near and dear to your heart. I know the special needs moms, and then the entrepreneur moms, and all the moms.
I'm really focusing, the first one is coming up in November, but and I'm really focusing it on women of
just like in their families
and just having that connection to themselves, because we get these titles like, I'm Matt's mom, like I'm not this individual, I am Matt's mom, I am Rick's wife, I am Sally's, all of these connections. And so really about connecting to ourselves and being in ourselves.
Awesome.
So that those connections with those around us, our children, our friends, our family, can be stronger and healthier.
Yes.
So really,
when I first started coaching, my kids were little, and over the years, it was always a reminder to them, I'm going out here, because if I don't, I'm not going to be a very good mom if I didn't, right? The whole idea of oxygen mask first, and all of those kinds of, phrases that we hear over time, they are things because they're true, right? The memes are memes because they're true, right? Put your oxygen mask on first. Self-care is not selfish. Like, all those things, those are phrases that we see because they're all true. So to bring that as like a package deal, so that it's not just talk, but that there's practices and learning and connection for each individual person who gets to receive it from you. I think that's like an incredible gift that you're giving them. So I'm super excited for you.
Yes.
Yay.
So I'm super excited. And like, I can't wait to, healing takes action. And if we don't want to heal, then we don't do anything. And even if
so you've got to change your thoughts around it, right? Like we were saying, changing your thoughts around doing the additional learning to be able to be the teacher. right? You've got to change your thoughts around whether or not, you got to change your thoughts around whether what you want is for you, or whether what you want is what you think other people's think you want, or, you know, I mean, there's so many ways we turn all those thoughts in our head around in circles. So to spend time in realizing what it is that we really want and how we really can focus on ourselves to get it, because that's where it begins, is by taking the action ourselves. So good.
Yes. Yes.
Well, awesome. So, okay. So we're going to hear about this workshop that's coming up in November. And I'm pretty sure that this video is going out. Gosh, it's going to be in November. So I don't know if we're going to make it in time, but it's going to be close. And if not, there'll be one in the spring.
Yes.
And maybe it'll be perfect timing. We'll see, you know, and it's whatever it is perfect. So it's all good.
Yes.
And if nothing else, it's definitely going to be no later than November, which will be coming up on the holidays. So even if the retreat itself has already passed, I know that you're going to have a lot going on going into the holidays to support people with their gift giving and with their opportunities to restore, especially in person, but also online. So no matter what, I know that there's a lot of opportunities still to connect with you with all of the amazing things that you support people with.
Yes. Yes.
Well, great
opportunities.
Yes, always lots of opportunities. And that's the thing, right? We were talking when we first started that we haven't talked very much because we both have so much going on. And that's because we're offering so many opportunities to the clients that are in our worlds and to our families and to the people in our communities. So it's all good and all important. So I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, last question. What are you diffusing today?
Today, I am diffusing a blend called Raven. So it has multiple eucalyptus, it has some wintergreen, and then I added in some extra eucalyptus. I was a little bit congested this morning, so just kind of clearing the air and having a little bit of focus so that I can be in action today.
Yeah. Well, and I know you had something right before us and you have something right after us, and it's a big day. So
yes,
that's great. And as entrepreneurs, it's almost the most important thing is just to remember that, yes, we have dreams. Yes, we have a plan, but if we're not staying in action, nothing's going to be gotten, right? We got to still get to work to get it, to make it happen. So that's great. I love that. That blend is really interesting. So, awesome. Any final things before we finish that you want to be sure to touch on?
I am, I'm always excited to be in the Gather community and be with all of you. And thank you, Tracy, for always being a wonderful champion.
Yay, I'm excited. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Shannon. And again, all Shannon's links are here in this video. You can find her on the Gather community website and our Facebook groups, blah, 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 all the places. She lives in Pengrove, California, which is up near Petaluma, North Bay. So if you're in Northern California and you want to get together with Shannon for some in-person activities, definitely worth the drive up to Pengrove. It's a beautiful area and her place is great and she's great. So everyone go see Shannon. All right, my friend, I will talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you.